Mechanical digestion starts in the mouth as food is chewed. At the same time, chemical digestion also begins when the food mixes with saliva. Saliva contains an enzyme called amylase, which begins breaking down carbohydrates. The epiglottis is a flexible flap at the end of the larynx in the throat. It acts as a switch between the larynx and the esophagus, allowing air to pass into the lungs and food to move into the esophagus. The esophagus is a muscular tube that connects the throat to the stomach. It's about 8 inches long. Muscles in the esophagus use a wave-like motion called peristalsis to push the swallowed food down toward the stomach. This peristaltic action looks like an ocean wave moving through muscle. Once the food reaches the stomach, a rounded, hollow, J-shaped organ located between the esophagus and the duodenum. It goes through 3 main mechanical tasks. 1. Storage. The upper part of the stomach relaxes to store the swallowed food in liquid form. Its inner lining is full of folds called rugae, which stretch to accommodate large meals and help grip and move the food during digestion. 2. Mixing. The lower part of the stomach uses muscle action to mix the food liquid with digestive juices, much like a blender. This process breaks the food down into tiny particles, roughly 3 millimeters in size. 3. Emptying. Finally, the stomach gradually releases this acidic mash into the small intestine. 4. The small intestine, or small bowel, is an organ in the gastrointestinal tract, where most of the final absorption of nutrients and materials from food takes place. It lies between the stomach and the large intestine and receives bile and pancreatic juice through the pancreatic duct to assist in digestion. 5. The duodenum, the first part of the small intestine, receives partially digested food from the stomach and begins nutrient absorption. It's the shortest segment of the intestine, measuring about 23 to 28 centimeters, 9 to 11 inches long, and has a roughly horseshoe-shaped structure. The pancreatic juices and bile released into the duodenum aid the body in breaking down fats, carbohydrates, and proteins. Now that the food is in the intestine, it still has a long journey ahead. As a person grows, the small intestine increases dramatically in length, from about 200 centimeters in a newborn to nearly 6 meters in an adult. The inner walls of the small intestine are lined with mucosal folds called plicae circulares. These folds are more numerous in the earlier part of the intestine and gradually reduce in number, eventually disappearing entirely toward the end. Digestion is essential because your body needs nutrients from food and drink to function properly and stay healthy. Nutrients include proteins, fats, carbohydrates, vitamins, minerals, and water. Your digestive system breaks these nutrients down into smaller parts so your body can absorb and use them for energy, growth, and cell repair. Proteins break down into amino acids. Fats break down into fatty acids and glycerol. Carbohydrates break down into simple sugars. What's left over, mostly liquid, then moves into the colon. In the small intestine, the food particles become even smaller. These nutrients are absorbed and carried to other parts of the body. As the process continues, water is absorbed in the colon, and bacteria there help break down the remaining material. The colon then pushes what's left into the rectum. The rectum acts as a storage space for waste. Muscles in the rectum move this waste, called stool, out of the body through the anus.